You have clearly had a busy week, a lot of news. We've got to ask, as you look at your company today and the outlook, all that cash you've got, not much leverage, what are you going to spend it on? How about Valiant, for example?
Yeah, so nice to be with you this morning. Look, we're in a terrific position. While this was not plan A, we were prepared for this. We had a contingency plan, and Allergan has a great opportunity as an independent company to leverage its growth profile, its large R&D assets, and of course, as you just mentioned, our balance sheet. And so we will continue to look to become the premier growth pharma company, and we're going to go and look to find assets that complement and increase our growth profile.
Would Valiant be one of those complements?
Yeah, I can't comment on a specific company, but keep in mind the attributes of things we buy are always growth-oriented or R&D assets in our one of our 7 therapeutic areas. You know, Valiant, I'd really have to understand their growth profile to be able to answer that question.
And you don't understand their growth profile, or you don't like it?
Well, they haven't reported, right? It's hard to see what was volume versus price. It's got a lot of good assets in there. They have a lot of good people. I used to be the CEO of Bausch & Lomb. That's a premier brand in eye care. But I can't comment specifically on Valiant because I just haven't followed it that closely.
Would you be interested if they were willing to spin out Bausch & Lomb?
Well, as I said, Bausch & Lomb is a premier asset in eye care. I haven't followed it closely. They operate in different segments of eye care than we do. We're a pharmaceutical eye care company. They have more of a bent towards consumer, like contact lenses and surgical. But I know the business well. I like the people there, and I'd have to really understand the pipeline and the growth prospects of that business.
Given these new Treasury rules, and I know you don't want to comment on specific acquisition targets, would something like an Amgen be too big?
No, actually, again, I can't comment on Amgen specifically, but really these new rules have virtually no impact or no material impact on standalone Allergan. Both the income stripping as well as the 3-year look-back provisions really don't impact a company like Allergan, particularly as we get to October this year and the 3rd-year anniversary of our Warner-Chilcott deal.
Now, when you think about what kind of deals you want to do next, and you'll have a lot of cash once you're done with the Teva transaction, are you thinking more in terms of R&D heavy organizations, or are you thinking more in terms of the branded pharmaceutical space?
Really, we're going to look at both and everything. We're also going to look at other ways to improve or return capital to shareholders. And so everything is on the table. At the end of the day, the most important thing that we can do is stay focused on our strategy of executing on our business, driving double-digit branded growth, and looking for opportunities to enhance our growth profile, whether it be through R&D assets or marketed pharmaceutical products.
How about your profile, Brent? You are known as a deal guy, and clearly this breakup happened very quickly. Could that mean if Pfizer, let's say, broke up into 2 companies, could you be the buyer of one of them? You like Pfizer.
I do like Pfizer, and I have tremendous respect for Ian Reid and the management team at Pfizer, and they are also prepared for this contingency, and they're going to do great. Look, we're going to look at anything that is a growth-oriented asset. That's what we do. We're a growth pharma company, and that will include R&D assets as well as marketed product, as I said before. So everything is on the table. Everything is a possibility, but it always will be true to our growth profile and growth-oriented assets.
Now, you've spent a lot of time with Pfizer over the last few months. You were on an executive committee that would have potentially helped run the company. What do you think Pfizer should do next?
Well, look, Pfizer has a strong plan as an independent company. Ian Reid is a terrific CEO. And so they're going to move forward on building their business, doing great things in oncology, vaccines, rare diseases, inflammation. So they're in a very strong position, and they're going to do great.
All right, let's talk about your position. You have said in the past that you are on the path to $25 earnings. Has that changed, or does it need to now?
No, look, we're focused on shareholder return and looking for opportunities to create cures and treatments for unmet medical need. That's our mission, right? And so the fastest we can get to $25, whether it be 3 years or 5 years from now, we need to get there.
Well, what is the number? Is it 3 or 5?
I can't answer that question. We will provide an update on our quarterly conference call coming up in May. But look, we are focused on making sure we lead our industry in total shareholder return. We will continue to stay focused on that, and we'll continue to build the premier growth pharmaceutical company in the industry. And we are going to have an exciting future.
And as you focus within your own company, what kind of restructurings still need to take place?
Well, we had, before Pfizer came, we had looked at restructuring our company to better deal with the divestiture of our generics business to Teva. We have that plan. It's been sitting on the shelf. We're going to pull it off the shelf this week. We're going to make sure it's fresh and is the right thing to do, and then we'll get moving. So we were prepared for this. We didn't want it to happen, but we were prepared for it. So we're ready to go, and we'll be in great shape.
Now, just looking back at the last 24 to 48 hours, were you completely blindsided by this? And how come you didn't decide to fight it? You moved to stop the merger quite quickly. Well, what was the thinking there, and what was the analysis in terms of what you could have potentially done to fight back at the Treasury?
Yeah, of course we were surprised by this. This was an extraordinary change of the rules after the game had started to be played. But we were prepared for it, so that was the good news. I think fighting it is not in our shareholders' best interest. It's not in our employees' best interest. It would have been a long, protracted, expensive fight. Perhaps we could have won, but that's not a fair position to put our shareholders in, particularly when our standalone prospects, our growth prospects, our pipeline is so strong.
Well, given that the government really stepped in and roadblocked you in a very big way in terms of your acquisition and growth targets, how about pricing? How concerned are you as you look to the government, as you look to the upcoming election, the pressure on drug pricing?
Look, we always take the pressure on drug pricing seriously. We've always, at Allergan and Forrest before it, have believed we have a social contract with patients and physicians to price our medicines based on value and price them in a responsible way. We will continue to do that. But the most important thing we can do is find cures and treatments for unmet need. And as long as we do that, I think the value equation will remain intact and we will continue to flourish.
But do the new inversion rules concern you that the government is quite focused on you? For example, could this tax policy change again if we have a new administration? Could the new administration be even tougher on you in terms of tax policy and pricing?
No, I don't think that that's a reality. I think the administration, to be fair, was focused on Pfizer, not Allergan. The rules that they passed today certainly were to stop the inversion, but they have virtually no material impact on standalone Allergan and our ability to continue to execute our strategy on a go-forward basis. So we are in a strong position. I don't believe we'll be targeted. And in fact, I think we have a competitive advantage in that these rules built a wall around the U.S. to lock U.S. companies into being less competitive globally, where a Dublin-based company has the freedom to operate in a more competitive way.
Now, when you say they have virtually no material impact on your business, is that because you aren't doing some of the earnings stripping that they laid out? And are you concerned that they might come out with more and look at other ways that there could be inversion tactics that are stripped away from some of the tax benefits that you enjoy?
Yeah, so the way they targeted earnings stripping in these rules doesn't impact our structure. That's not the way we are structured. That being said, I think it was very difficult for them to do that, and they've acknowledged that there will be some unintended consequences of the rules they wrote, but they will not impact Allergan.
No room?
So my sense is they've really worked hard at Treasury to write these rules. My sense is Secretary Liu has already said now it's up to Congress. President Obama has now also said now Congress needs to make their next move. And so I think the hope here is that Congress will do something to make the American tax system more competitive for global companies to operate.
Well, whether you were blindsided or not, clearly this is a big smack. Who do you want to give your political dollars to after this?
You know, I'm not going to endorse a specific candidate, but I do want to make sure that the conversation of the politicians changes from punishing companies to figuring out how we can make America more competitive. That would be a much more constructive dialogue.
Do you believe what they did here was punishing you?
Well, I think they were trying to punish Pfizer. Clearly, they they accomplished what they set out to do, which was to break the deal. And both Pfizer and Allergan will be fine. Both have strong independent plans and strategies, and both will move on and focus on those. So while they broke the deal, I don't think they succeeded in punishing anybody.